This whole time, you really thought carrots were food? Wow, I'm almost envious of your ignorance. What's next? Thinking the Earth is a globe? I don't mean to be rude, I'm not trying to giggle at your naivete, but come on. Carrots? Food? Imagine. What is this, the Magic Treehouse or something? It's ridiculous. Yeah, you know that thing Bugs Bunny's eaten in the cartoons for like 100 years? The beloved orange carrot, as it's so called? Not real. Make-believe. Fake. What it actually is birth control. And luckily, we have a highly intellectual mind that's bringing us back to common sense when it comes to this poisonous menace. Carrots.
A lot of these plants we eat, like carrot, people think are food. They're not food. The orange carrot was created at the turn of the 18th century, and we act like they've been around since the turn of time.
So this lady who looks like a Viking that was ordered from Temu after she slaughtered 15 squirrels and stitched their pelts together to make this jacket is educating us all on the history of carrots and trying to open our third eye to the fact that carrots are not food.
This is a wild carrot, also known as Queen Anne's lace. They're far from the sweet and tender carrots we're used to. Through selective breeding practices that began in the 18th century, agronomists transformed these wild roots into the big orange carrots we see today.
Carrots lore so deep it's got League of Legends writers sweating. I appreciate the historical breakdown on the genesis of carrots. And now let's see where she goes with this. Now we know where they came from. Well, what's the point she's making?
What most people don't know is that Queen Anne's lace, the root itself, was used as the morning after pill. It is so toxic, it will abort a fetus. And yes, it's not as toxic now that we've bred the poison out of them, but this is the root, and we're feeding them to our fucking kids.
Oh, zoinks. Gotta be honest with you, crazy lady, I think you've been boofing a little too much Queen Anne's lace. As you just said, through many years of breeding, they got the poison out. So now, the modern carrot is not the same thing as Queen Anne's lace. They're very different. You can't bite down on a carrot and expect it to abort a fetus. Also, from what I read, Queen Anne's lace can't do that either. It was used as a contraceptive. From everything I've read, it couldn't do a fucking abortion. But maybe if you, mega dosed it, if you set that Wumbo serving size up, maybe it could then. I don't really know. But what is 100% irrefutable, as she even admits, modern carrots don't have that poison. So what are you mad about? What is the argument you're making?
It's gotta stop. I don't want to see babies eating herbs that are able to abort a fetus. That is what Queen Anne's lace looks like. And this is what we've created today. This is the clown food. Do you guys see it? You see how it looks like it should be in a circus?
Goofball, you need to be in a circus. What? This isn't even a good point you're making. You already admitted that it is not poisonous anymore. So it was derived from something that was used as a contraceptive. But it isn't that anymore. You're not feeding babies a contraceptive. You've already established that that's not the case. It's like getting mad at toilet paper because it came from trees at one point. It's separate things now. The modern carrot is not the same thing as Queen Anne's lace. You know that. You've already said as much, and yet you're still getting mad at this imaginary villain you're creating about carrots. What the fuck is happening here?
And once you know this, you can't unknow it.
You challenging me with that? I'll unknow it right now. I'll erase it from my memories databanks. I've now entirely forgotten it. Checkmate. Fucking idiot.
Plants were always toxic to us. Meat never was. This is a list of meat that is deadly toxic to humans. Polar bear liver, because it's high in vitamin A.
Her whole personality is meat, 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 meat. She's like a real-life Luffy, but not cool at all. So she's waging war on plants. Plants have always been mean. They've been real jerks to us. There's poisonous plants out there. Can you believe it? No shit! What the fuck? Obviously, there's going to be plants out there that are poisonous. You don't eat them. And she's making this huge hoopla about nothing. It'd be like getting mad at meat because it can get stuck in someone's throat. You're just fighting against something that is completely nonsensical. Now, I've only taken a brief perusal through her shorts, but her whole shtick seems to be carnivore diet is the optimal way of living. She used her son as a punching bag for a little bit. Here's my son before he switched to a carnivore diet. Man, not good. Protein deficient, flat chested, horrible, horrible. Now look at him. Now that he eats nothing but meat and he's jacked. And then she's like, look at me when I was eating more than just meat. And now look at me and I'm in better shape. So her whole thing is like meat every day, all the time, just constantly indulging in meat. Fuck plants, fuck anything that's not meat. That's her whole thing. And I know carnivore diets have blown up in popularity recently, but it's become like a full-blown religious movement. I don't care if you're on the carnivore diet, go for it. A lot of people see a lot of good benefits from it. But her seminars have me giggling with the way she tries to encourage people to get it, and the way that she's like talking about plants as if she's some kind of, being that achieved nirvana by seeing the truth of plants. It's very silly. I also have seen her taking shots at like vegans, like at least a little bit. And she kind of just does the same thing but for meat. Like it's her whole personality. It's all she talks about is being a carnivore, the primal body. So like it's pretty silly when she's like, oh, those fucking vegans and fruitarians. Meanwhile, she is just that same archetype, but for the carnivore diet.
Too much vitamin A will kill us. Raw shark, because it's high in urea. We've got the pufferfish, it's a neurotoxin, and the Nemora jellyfish. I don't think humans spent much time trying to hunt those guys. These are the only meats that are toxic to us. We can eat anything else. You want a lizard? Go for it. You want a chipmunk? Go for it. You can eat any kind of thing that moves.
Yeah, sure, you can to a certain extent if you know what you're doing. Different meats have to be prepared in different ways. You couldn't just go out there and just start eating any fucking meat that you find. The same way you can't go out there and just eat any plant that you find either. It's a complete moot point. The meats you're going to be eating are the meats that you're going to the store and getting. She does not look like someone who's going out there hunting and gathering, no matter how much her hairstyle tries to convince you otherwise. She is probably going out there and just buying meat from the supermarket. And guess what? A lot of that meat is also modified the same way the plant food she hates so much is. When you're buying meat from the store, a lot of times you're getting meat that is pumped full of antibiotics, growth hormone, all kinds of things that lead to it being modified, albeit in a different way, but it's not like it's some drastic difference between meat and plant food in terms of like what's real food.
But plants, more than 700 species of plants in the United States and Canada alone are deadly toxic.
Oh no! I had no idea! Wow! That's a powerful mic drop right there. 700 plants are toxic? Who would have thought, Just when you thought it was safe to go outside. All these plants jumping in your mouth, forcing you to eat them. Goodness gracious. Heavens to Betsy. She's making a mountain out of a molehill. You know what else is real bad for you? If you get a piece of a bone stuck in your throat and it fucking cuts up your esophagus, or, you choke to death on it. Oh no! Should we be afraid of meat too because of the bone? Like, I'm not her dad. She can have whatever diet she wants. If she wants to eat nothing but raw pork testicles forever, all power to her. It's just her little seminar she gives on carrots being fake clown food, birth control, and plants are toxic. Like, the only thing not toxic is meat. That's the only thing you can trust. It's just so silly. I had to just talk about it a little bit. Matt sent me to this earlier, and we were just goofing around about it, so I just wanted to talk on it. That's it. See ya.